Hey guys, this is Matt Makrom. Some of you know me as Matt Makrom from TV. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm here with Daniel McRae today, and we actually have all the audio equipment that we've been waiting on. We sound so much better. If we
We
don't,
always sound good.
that's true, but and I think that we sound good.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to tune in on the TV there. Um, but we sound good to ourselves with these headsets
right.
on. Now we can actually hear how loud we are because previously you guys were just kind of you might have to refresh that.
Okay.
Yeah, you want back. Anyway, so this is the Maiden Voyage. This is going to be the McMak Shack. This is the leather couch you guys will get real used to. Um, got a foosball table over here. You guys can't see. Got a pool table over here. But anyway, this is going to be the layer in which we have the people uh, and the conversations that matter to you in the area, northeastern Tennessee. So anyway, this is Danny McRae. He is also a nurse. We both work at the VA. And Daniel, you want to tell everyone a
Yeah.
little bit about yourself?
Hey, everybody. It's Daniel McRae. I've been living here for about 10 years, somewhere around in there. I was born here, raised in North Carolina, moved here, like I said, about 10 years ago. And just wanted to get involved in civics. Wanted to be, I guess, someone who actually took part in the things that are going on around them, trying to shape their environment, not be a product of the environment, but actually shape the environment that they're in. And so this is actually how we decided to do it. So I think the Lord has put it. I'm just an ordinary guy, but the Lord has put a bunch of extraordinary people around me, and this is, they're trying to do extraordinary things, and so this is my way to actually help them out. And I'm hoping that over time, you guys will subscribe, like, and hit the bell, and we'll talk about some things that are going on in this area, and just the culture, politics, and all that good stuff.
So just so everyone knows, we will at some point have a separate website. I'm gonna continue to try to plug my website just
Sure, please.
until you get super popular.
Mm.
Uh, so that is for now. It's mattforcongress.vote. I'm going to put a link in the pod in the podcast section, but we will have it's going to be of course the McMak Shack or what is
The
it?
McMak
Just McMak
Podcast. Right.
McMakPodcast.com will be the website, but I'll update you guys on that, and we'll continue to update you guys on here. We'll have a separate channel for that, and I'm going to continue to do podcasts or just probably smaller videos also, but we're going to be interviewing some really cool people, talking about some really cool stuff. Um, anyway,
Well, so the first topic today, which I actually thought was really, really funny. So apparently, this nice lady that has actually formed a BLM, actually, who is a trained Marxist. She actually bought a $1.4 million estate, and which I think is,
$1.4 million.
yeah. I mean, no, I think that's awesome. I mean, I love to see people actually do well. And
How would you afford that in a communist country, though?
hey, man, well,
Wait, no.
hey,
Okay, so I take that back because there's plenty of billionaire Chinese.
yeah, right.
How does that work?
Well,
How does that happen? By the way, just while we're on the topic, how does someone in China become a billionaire?
well, you got to be hooked up with the party, man. You
Yeah.
got to be part of the CCP. I mean, every company that actually comes over to China, that's a foreign nation, actually has a branch of the CCP in that company. So, I mean, they pretty much control. They pretty much have a say and control of what goes on.
So, I don't know if you ever saw it. I think I might have mentioned it before. The Sound of Hope news.
Yeah, definitely.
They're Chinese Americans.
Mhm.
They have a news broadcast station in San Francisco, and super awesome, super patriotic, very informative people. They give you that kind of other side of things from
Yeah.
someone from people who used to be in the CCP. But what they say is, with all these startups and tech companies, what they'll do initially is they will be like, "Hey, looks like you're catching on to something. We're gonna support you. We'll give you a bunch of funding."
Mhm.
And that person's like, "Heck yeah, man. Well, that sounds good to me." And what they're doing is they're getting in
Right.
bed with the devil,
Yeah.
right? And gradually over time, once that company is established and
Mhm.
they have a lot to lose, they're like, "Hey, we want you to do this."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, I mean,
Yeah.
even if you don't want to,
Yeah. I mean, you pretty much got to operate in the realm. What
but
happens?
you're rich though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're still rich, but you
Yeah.
are beholden to the CCP."
Right. Right. And I mean, and that's the thing. Like I said, here in America, we enjoy capitalism. We're just actually starting in on it. But I may actually switch to Marxism, Matt, because I'm telling you right now, if I can get my fourth house could be 1.4 million, maybe we're doing something wrong, man.
I mean, probably.
I don't
We're
know.
probably doing a lot of things wrong
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, it could be the case. Could be the case. No, but
You're probably doing more things wrong than me,
well, hey,
of course.
well, somebody's got to be the bad guy, you
That
know.
is true.
you
Yeah,
know, but
make me look good.
yeah, well, it's at least I'm doing my part. So,
Wow.
the main thing is, like I'm saying, I think it's great that people do well in this country. I think it's great that actually she's doing well, but I just don't understand. It seems kind of hypocritical to me that you would actually, I guess, portray or push this type of economic system on people in which you have pretty much the oppressors and the oppressed. Because and it's what's even more funny is like in a Marxist system. I mean, you don't have personal property. It's all at the state. It's at the behest of the state. Now, granted, on the opposite end, that's one of the things that I want to do on this channel is look at things from both sides of the spectrum. Now, let's say, for instance, if she bought this fourth house and it's $1.4 million, and she's letting just random people live in it. Hey, I mean, that's more like a communist type
Well,
deal.
I doubt that she would have bought the house
Oh,
if she
come
was
on.
letting all the random people what LA has. Is it like 50,000 homeless people
Well, hey, man,
just on the streets?
she might be trying to do her part to help. You don't know.
Now, whenever I went out to LA, I went out to LA in 2015,
Right.
2016.
Okay.
Had a blast, man. It was beautiful. Everyone was super nice,
Hmm.
and had an absolute blast with one of my friends. And apparently, listening to the Joe Rogan podcast,
Okay.
apparently it is absolute chaos now.
Oh, you know whose fault it is? It's
Gavin
Donald
Newsom.
Trump, man.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's the
I was
Trump.
wrong. I thought it was Gavin Newsom. Or maybe Nancy Pelosi, but she's over
No,
in San Francisco though,
no,
right?
man. They're all Marxists, man. They're good to go.
Well, I don't know that they're Marxist,
I'm
but
joking. I'm joking.
they definitely don't like Republicans.
Oh well.
So have you always been a Republican? Or?
Well, actually, to
You
be
seem
honest,
like you might have been a little racist, Democrat at some point.
right? No, actually, it's funny. There's a saying, and it
I thought it
goes,
was funny too.
there's a funny. It says, if you're younger and not liberal, you don't have a heart. But if you're older and not conservative, you're stupid. So,
I heard that from one of our patients actually. I had
really?
never heard it. I heard it maybe like 8 or 9 months ago,
Yeah.
and I was
No.
like, huh.
No, but the thing is, I'm actually a smaller Republican, more libertarian type, and that's fine. I'm the type of person. I'll do me, you do you. And that's fine. That's fine. And I understand that people don't always agree. Or always think the same way we do. And
They
that's
should.
well, no, but that's cool, man.
I mean, but honestly, they should. If they don't think,
Well,
first of all, okay, look, if you're not about the Constitution, you're wrong. Sorry.
well,
Sorry, Charlie.
Well, it.
I mean, we gotta say it the way it is, but we'll listen.
Okay.
I would really love to have conversations. If someone has a better idea than us, not us collectively, but
Right.
as us as constitutionalists,
Okay.
then I am more than willing to listen. But the problem is we have lost logic.
Yeah, and that actually, there's a guy named Herbert Marcuse, and you got Antonio Gramsci. These are guys that are Marxist, and we'll actually get into those later
They got
on.
Japanese Marcusa.
No. He actually was a Jew. He actually was in Germany, and he flew, or actually fled to Geneva, and then he actually came to North America. He actually helped the CIA kind of understand or grasp fascism, and so. And you got to understand that his thought process was he wrote what's called regressive tolerance, which was in '65. So this country was in turmoil then, but so we'll get into him a whole lot
What was his
more
name? Let's
later on.
check him out here.
It's Herbert Marcuse.
How you spell that?
It's Herbert. I think
Herbert. The last name.
ATRVER. I'll actually have to look
Herbert.
up Marcuse. I think it's
Hoover's first.
Okay, it's MERK.
Marcuse.
Yeah, there you go.
Spelled Marcuse.
Mhm.
Oh, let's check it out here.
Yeah, so he wrote this thing called regressive tolerance, and he wrote a paper, and it actually talks about, which is pretty much cancel culture. You can't have anybody expressing thoughts, what would be considered from the right, or you got to create asymmetry. You have to actually, you'll push forward the leftist agenda, but you can't even have, or you want to actually have people self-censor. You want to actually pound the right so hard.
So, how would you go about that?
What? It's like it's cancel culture.
Wait, we had one of your friends was over here earlier, and you guys were talking about renovated, and you were
Right.
talking about him self-censoring because what did he say?
Oh, I can't remember the term.
What were we talking about then? Self-censor. So to give people an idea is like whenever you say something and then you take it back because we were like, well, you might not have to take it back. You could not have to take it back. You could just naturally say or naturally limit what you're saying
Right,
in terms
or
of
that you're
political
actually,
correctness.
yeah, you're actually afraid to actually express yourself because you're afraid you might actually offend someone. And
And normalizing that.
right, and well, the thing about it is, I believe in the Lord and everything. So I mean, as people, we don't want to be offensive, and He does too. But at the same time, they'll almost take it to an illogical level, and that's how they actually create asymmetry. So.
I mean, the thing is, it's so easy to apply that because naturally we're asymmetrical as humans. Not one person is
Well,
symmetrical to
he's
another.
actually talking about from a cultural standpoint. The thing about it is, and Yuri Bezmenov actually talked about this also. And, they just, you have to go in and actually disrupt the culture. Back in the 20s, and everything else. You actually had the same concepts in China when this Marxist revolution, or the 20s and 30s. You had what was called Han supremacy and Han oppression.
Are you talking
And
about in China?
yeah, I'm talking about in China right
There's
now.
the Han dynasty, the
Yeah,
Chinese.
but they actually use like white supremacy and white
White
oppression.
supremacy.
No. It's like it's the
Oh, you're talking
same.
about now?
It's the
Oh
same
yeah,
concepts
yeah,
that
yeah.
are actually
Okay.
used today, by the Marxist leftists.
But so yeah, they create class divisions.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
So
It's conquer and divide.
So, like I was saying earlier, the definition of fascism. That's
Yeah.
something that people are very confused about.
Mhm.
That's something that's actually pretty hard
Right.
to find. Tell you what, let's look on here, see what we find whenever we check out the definition. We'll just
Yeah. Well, when it comes to actual fascism,
hang on 1 second.
okay,
I want
all
to see. There's a definition
Okay.
that I heard. So the gist of the definition that I heard
Right.
that really I was like, oh, okay, that's great because it's really a vague term. People throw it around left and right.
Right.
And fascism, the definition I heard was basically an authoritarian form of government in which the opposing form of political persuasion is forcibly oppressed.
Hmm.
So, I mean, a socialist authoritarian society in which the alternative
Right.
party is forcibly oppressed. So, people,
Okay.
so
Okay.
people think about that in the Nazi,
Okay.
because the Nazi socialists, they're fascists.
Hmm.
So they were shutting down the communists,
Right. Yeah,
the
definitely. Hmm.
and the I don't know the
Well, I
whatever
mean,
regime.
Antonio Gramsci, he was actually a Marxist that was actually jailed by the fascists,
Yeah,
in Italy,
right.
and
By Mussolini.
right, yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to fascism, what I'm very interested in is the actual cooperation between the government and corporations themselves.
Well, that's the thing. So they're by definition socialist. So fascism is socialism.
Yeah, but the means of production are actually controlled by different entities, which is okay. But they're
As
really
but as long as they're
right,
cooperative with the party, which
right,
is what China is.
right. So, well, I mean, what it is. China's got kind of got like a mixed system. I mean, and the thing about fascism is, like when it works in a government economic thing or situation, is like you'll have corporations actually I guess, coexist or actually assist one political party
Well,
and shut down the others, which
well,
is
especially if they're in power, like the Chinese communist,
right,
the CCP
right,
is different from from Chinese, right? The
right.
CCP is a party of
Yeah,
people,
correct.
and they
Yeah.
are dominant, and they use every means necessary to maintain that
Hmm.
dominance.
Yes,
And they will support businesses. And if
sure.
you're a business who doesn't support them, or if you're someone who doesn't support them, they will forcibly shut you
Hmm.
down.
Yeah.
And they
Hmm.
they don't have to broadcast that. It's just
No,
like it
well,
just occurs.
the thing about it is that's why you have the CCP, especially in all the corporations and stuff like that, to actually stop or actually control the media, to actually control any type of propaganda that actually gets out of there, but
Can you read that all the way over there?
yes, I
You have
can.
good vision, right?
Yeah, pretty decent with my
Yeah.
glasses on. So
So, so that's that. So the definition on Wikipedia,
okay.
fascism is a form of far right.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
I get. Is it? I mean, is that? I
Far right.
mean, I guess. Okay, authoritarian ultra nationalism. And let me stop right there because I just want to point out that I think it's hilarious that the media likes to call people nationalists. What is wrong with nationalism?
Well, they actually use it as kind of like a stigma because they actually want to use that word, to
They try
actually.
they apply it to race.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah,
They're inferring that nationalism means your race. And American is not a is not a race. It's a nationality.
right.
It's your country. And to be a nationalist means that you believe in your country above the other countries. I mean, am I wrong? We won't have to look that
Well, no,
definition up.
there's nothing wrong. You don't want to be, an oppressive, like
No,
an authoritarian, but there's nothing actually
but
wrong.
to
There's nothing
believe in your
wrong. Yeah,
country.
there's nothing wrong with believing in your country, and actually having, I guess, like the same culture. The actual to have everybody actually kind of going toward the same goal, and not actually,
That's the purpose of a country, is it not?
right,
You the
yeah,
common good.
well, yeah, right, and that's the thing, but that's not what's going on now. I think you have entities that are trying to divide us
Hmm.
and keep us from actually moving forward. And I was actually having a conversation with a lady today, and we were,
Really? Where at?
well, we'll get to that. And was actually, but we were just sitting there and we were talking,
It's interesting.
and she said, she was talking about just different parties and stuff like that, and this thought just dawned on me about politicians. Think about it for a second. If politicians actually really, there's nothing wrong with being a politician. You're going to be a politician.
There's a lot of things wrong
Well,
with being a
no, but
politician.
here's the thing.
You should be a servant.
Right. Well, you're representative of the people, and the thing about it is, if they actually really solved a lot of problems, which they may, I don't know, but if they actually solved a lot of problems, they'd be putting themselves out of a job. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's really kind of like an awkward situation. Apparently the issues that people are actually fussing about, apparently we've had them for a while, or at least people say we've had them for a while. So,
So, do you have any recommendations to solve that one?
well,
You're a really
what,
smart guy, Daniel,
well,
so I trust your.
well, here's the thing. What I don't understand is, like, why do you have to have a 2,000 page bill? If you have, if I mean,
Because you can't read it.
well, that's the thing. I mean, unfortunately, Nancy Pelosi has said, hey, you got to pass this bill before we can read it in the
Did she
past.
say it like that? She probably slurring her
Yeah.
speech a little bit.
Well, I'm not sure if she was slurring, but yeah, I remember reading the article. So, and I actually did watch the actual video at one point, but
What was it? Let's check it out here.
yeah. So, but why can't you just have a 10 page bill? You know what I'm saying? Or 10 or 20 page bill. You know, and just address just one issue at a time.
Well, that's what's the congressman's name from Utah? Check it out here. Mike Lee.
Okay.
Man, that guy is off the chain. He is
Okay.
also Mormon.
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah.
can you be from Utah and not be Mormon? We got
I don't know.
what's the dude, the black dude?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Come on, man.
From Utah?
Come on, man. Yeah, he's from Utah. Let's see here. Was that that
I
wasn't
know you got Mitt
racist what I
Romney.
just said, was it? Calling people black. So I just want to point this out. Black people are not offended by being called black. That's always an issue that people have, and they're like, so me being half Egyptian, I can say this without worrying about offensiveness, because to be completely honest, people are more prejudiced against Middle Eastern people than any other, than anyone else right now. Let's be honest. Every time I go through the airport, and I'm not complaining about this. Every time I go through the airport, I always get my bag checked, no matter what, coming and going, and that's fine. I understand why.
Okay.
I mean, was I alive during 2000?
It's profiling, and it's wrong.
It is profiling, but the reason you profile is because there's some evidence of truth. Okay,
Yeah.
it's and that's not being racist. So people forget what the actual definition of racism is. We talked about this earlier. The definition of racism is thinking a race of people is less than
Right.
is inferior.
As inferior, yes.
Not capable of producing the same results, not able to perform on the same level.
Yeah.
And we all know that Asians are way smarter than everyone else, but we're not going around calling Asians racist, right? Because they do better. They do better on on their scores. That actually doesn't have to do with their race. That actually has to do with their core values. I can't remember what the exact statistic is, but it's something around 90% of Asian families they're still together in a nuclear family, right? And in America, at least 90% of married Asian couples stay married, and that provides the child with a stable foundation for their life. Gives them example of mother and father, and responsibility. If you then take that same study, apply it to Caucasian couples, it's about 50%. Then you take that and apply it to black couples, that's about in the 25th percentile. Okay. If you go back to the 50s and 60s, the percentage of black couples that were together was much higher than white couples. The nuclear family stayed together. They were much more conservative. They had much more conservative values and traditions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pointing this out
Mm-hmm.
to show that the the most the most impactful thing uh, that race has currently is their values and morals, and the most impactful thing that happened, let me even try to rephrase that. The number one indicator for success is the 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 completion of the nuclear family
Well, okay, I can understand that,
and staying
but I
together.
also think it's your values and beliefs. For any person, it doesn't matter who it is. I actually told this, I think, on the last podcast that we actually took down, but I haven't.
It's Burgess Owens. That's
Okay,
who it
okay,
was.
okay, yeah, Burgess Owens. Okay, yeah, that's cool. And so, I just got son. He's growing up, and he's an adult now. But every time I would see him, I'd always tell him to remember. There's two road. There's two paths, or two things I want you to remember as you grow up. And those two things are: necessity is the mother of invention, and you cannot separate success from hard work. And it doesn't matter, how much melanin you have it in your skin. I think that actually, those ideas in itself actually transcends the idea of race. I love to see all people succeed. It doesn't matter who you are. And that's great. I'm actually, it's funny when people hear that, but I think people can see that in me because I'm always trying to help people. I'm always trying to help push them forward. And
Well, you're a big dude. You should, be careful pushing people so hard. Don't want to hurt anybody.
well, I'm a
You have an
little,
umbrella policy?
I'm a little older now, so I'm getting weak. So
Not that old, bro.
yeah, well, I don't know, man.
Got some
So
gray hair going on, but
yeah, well,
I've got some gray hairs too, dude. And they're long gray hairs too.
right, right. So and one thing that I hope that we can actually do here on the McMak podcast
Oh wait, so
is
so Eric is in here. There he goes.
okay, awesome.
Yeah, we were waiting for you, Eric.
Yeah, and
You SOB,
so
shortness of breath.
one of the things I'm hoping that we can do here is actually, as we grow,
Did you
interview
see what he
people.
said?
What
By
do you
the way,
put?
he said you can't get your agenda through that way. People think I'm good at math, but I need my abacus handy.
No,
So,
but
ching chong ping pong, Eric.
would like to um, interview people from all different types, or all different walks of life. And when we actually you know deal, or not actually deal, but actually just talk to people, I think we, as people, as a person, anybody needs to come to them with humility, grace, understanding, and then after that, hopefully, will be understood. So
Humility for sure. If you're humble about
yeah,
anything,
no, yeah.
then people like you.
And well, that's the thing, and that's I'm sitting there and thinking the other day about virtues of a
Hang
really.
on, stop 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
Eric, can you tell us how the sound quality is, real quick? We'll wait for you. The clock is ticking.
Well, I'll go ahead.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and go. And I think one of the best virtues of a leader is humility. I think as a leader, you don't have to have all the answers, but you have to humble yourself enough to actually surround yourself with
He said
people.
great with an exclamation mark. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
you're right.
Actually surround yourself with people with the qualities that you actually lack. And that's how you actually get things done, especially as a leader. Like
So
you
to develop those qualities
well,
in yourself,
yeah, no, and that's great.
because yeah, you are who
You
you're
always,
around.
yeah, you always want to surround yourself with people that you want to be like. And that's what I've always actually tried to do. It's just like I said earlier, I'm just an ordinary guy surrounded by extraordinary people trying to do extraordinary things. And, I'm just here to try to help them along, help them achieve their goals, and actually have some peace, about them. And that's the main thing that I thank the Lord for all the time. Is just the peace that I've actually gotten. And that actually, I think, starts with forgiveness. I think you actually got to start forgive yourself to begin with, and then you can actually get to that point in your life where you're actually looking around and you're like, okay, this is all right. Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I mean, um, that is something I only experienced. I don't experience it every day,
Mm-hmm.
but that is something I experienced only just at the beginning of last year.
Right.
Whenever I discovered,
Okay.
I was like, "Hey, man, I'm doing this all wrong."
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well,
and Eric said, "You don't have to lie to me, Daniel. I'm a turd."
I
I don't know exactly what he's referring to,
have no idea. I don't know.
but
Maybe
he is a turd.
no, but it's like I say, I give thanks to the Lord every day for the people in my life, and
And bringing the people, the new people that you have
yeah,
yet to come in
yeah,
contact with, because
yeah.
that all, I mean, I forgot what I was thinking about earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the pure ridiculousness
Mm-hmm.
of the fact that it was probably some biological phenomenon, like ruminants, so
Okay.
like animals who eat
Okay.
eat cellulose.
Okay.
The bacteria in one of their stomachs ferments that
Okay.
and creates fatty acids, which is fat.
Okay.
Okay. Then those fatty acids are then digested by the animal. Again, cows, rabbits,
Mm-hmm.
deer, and that just happened.
Okay.
Like, okay, so they have a totally different digestive
All right.
tract, and so there was just randomly some bacteria that is able to ferment that developed in a second stomach
Okay.
of this animal that is uh, perfectly in harmony with with nature around it, because it's all nature is basically cellulose, right? And we can't eat any. I mean, we don't get any nutrients from that. Even grain, we don't get any. We could eat straight up grain, and we would probably still die from starvation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we can't digest it. Right? So that all just naturally happened. I mean, just that one thing, the ruminant system in the animals, right?
Okay.
That just happened.
I don't know. I thought you were actually going somewhere to the point where
I was going somewhere
well,
important.
no. Here's the thing. Like, there's been actually studies done where people have actually taken, what's it called? Like, grafts, or from other people, or have taken an organ from other people.
It's called well, from animals.
It's like, no. Well,
That's
just from other people.
zoograph,
Yeah, zoograft, and you have from other people. It's xenografts, right? I believe that's, yeah,
xenograph.
xenografts. So
I
people
knew it
that
began with a
actually got
Z.
other
Don't
livers
give me
and
crap about that,
hearts.
bro. I
Well,
was close. You wouldn't have got it. You wouldn't have got it if I
well,
didn't help you on that one.
I'm surrounding myself with extraordinary
Where
people. So,
I can only
um,
be on one place at one time,
hey,
dude.
man, at least in this realm. So, but what happens is, people who actually take the organ will actually have some, not actual habits, but people who have
There's a movie about that, isn't there?
well, I'm not
They become a murderer because they get like an organ from some other person.
I'm not sure about that, but I know,
Eric wouldn't know
yeah,
either because he
I-
doesn't get to ever watch any movies because
right,
he's got those kids.
but I know that people pick up like cravings, like food cravings and stuff that the person had, that they actually
Yeah, and
obtained.
they also develop cancer. I don't know if no, seriously, there was
You're such a Debbie Downer,
no,
bro.
there was an actual case. I remember reading about it in college, where this guy had donate. I want to say it was maybe his liver, right?
Okay.
And he had actually had breast cancer or
Oh,
something like
really?
that,
Oh, really?
and he gave the liver to like 7 or 8 people, right?
Okay.
Because they divvied the parts up,
Okay.
and those people actually developed breast cancer.
Well, the question is, I mean, did he have mets in the liver and they didn't know it, or?
I mean that's possible, but also those genes you have those you're in your DNA. Those genes are still liable to
Okay.
develop cancer. Some people are more
Right. Right.
susceptible. You just
Yeah.
need to whatever it is that needs to activate those genes.
Right.
Um,
It's still there.
see,
Right.
see,
Well, I mean, that's why they say.
Eric said, yeah, I had you law on it, and I did watch it, Dick. He capitalized Dick, so I'm assuming he's talking to someone with an. I don't know any Richard.
Right.
And he can't remember the BAME, and then
No.
he corrected it with name.
I'm
So
in.
I'm not for sure if he meant BAME or
Man,
name.
I wish.
So I'm really
I wish
confused.
he was here actually on live with us.
No, he should be. He should
Yeah.
be. But you know what?
Yeah.
He never. He can never do anything. He can never do anything. Just I don't know that
Because
he.
he's being responsible, bro.
I don't know that he's being responsible. I think that it's
You're killing
just
me, man.
because he thinks that everyone is so racist. And his eyes are a little squinty. I don't know if
Dude,
you.
what are you talking about? What are you
Dude,
talking
I'm telling
about?
you, they're.
Anyway, so
He says it himself. He says you can blindfold him with dental floss. Correct me if I'm wrong.
oh,
I've never tried it. I would never do that to someone.
so
And I would never say that about someone that
back
doesn't.
to the intelligent
use it.
conversation we were having,
Yeah.
sir.
Mhm.
You know, it actually makes me wonder.
I can imagine him cracking up right now in his office chair,
I'm sure
and he's in a
is.
dark room by himself
Right.
with no one around him. He's just like cracking it, and they're all like, "Is Dad okay?"
Yeah, what's he in there laughing about? You know?
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no. But dealing with the graphs and stuff like that, dealing with the organs, you know, that's pretty interesting. I haven't read any studies regarding disease transmission with it. I mean, I'm sure there are actually ways that they do the processing to make sure that the tissue is viable. I mean,
Well, if it's in your if you're genetically predisposed, I mean, I don't think that they're definitely not doing any gene sequencing.
Yeah.
You know, but whenever donor services, whenever you call them, they ask if there's any cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you say no,
sure, yeah,
then they'll take the parts.
I was actually getting ready to talk about that, yeah. So, and I understand that. So,
let me pull this thing up here. I don't know if anyone's seen this, but this is Biden's nominee. This is from January. I think it's still the same person. She was nominated to lead the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. So she had written a letter that says melanin endows blacks with greater abilities. Let's see, Kristen Clark. I think that's still the person. I remember hearing something similar to this recently. I think she's actually being vetted by the Senate right now.
okay.
Like with Cruz. I don't know if it's her or someone in a similar position, but it sounds very eerily similar. And I just wanted to bring this up. A lot of people didn't pay attention to this. What is up with all these ads, yo? Anyway, it says Clark's been on. Well, this is what
article says.
Or Tucker Carlson. In 1994, she wrote a letter to the Harvard Crimson in her capacity as the president of the Black Students Association. It says, please use the following theories and observations to assist you in your search for truth regarding the genetic differences between blacks and whites. One, Dr. Richard King reveals that at the core of the human brain is the locus coeruleus, which is a structure that is black with a capital B because it contains large amounts of neuromelanin, which is essential for its operation. 2. Black infants sit, stand, crawl, and walk sooner than whites. 3. Carol Barnes notes that human mental processes are controlled by melanin, that same chemical which gives blacks their superior physical and mental abilities. 4. Some scientists have revealed that most whites are unable to produce melanin because their pineal glands are often calcified or non-functioning. Pineal calcifications rates with Africans are 5 to 15%, Asians 15 to 25%, Europeans 60 to 80%. This is the chemical basis for the cultural differences between whites and blacks. 5. Melanin endows blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, something which cannot be measured based on Eurocentric standards. Now, let's think about that. So, Mrs. What's her name? Mrs. Clark is saying that melanin is basically the reason that she's racist against white people. Racist is, again, the definition is having
thinking a race is inferior.
Yes,
I understand.
So
the main thing is how you treat each other.
So,
man.
so hang on.
Well, I mean,
we haven't got the punchline yet.
All right.
Tucker Carlson said, "Let that sink in. Melanin endows black people with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities." No, this isn't an editorial from the Final Call. It's a direct quote from the person Joe Biden is about to put in charge of the country's civil rights laws. Even at Harvard, crackpot theories like this were considered deranged and dangerous. After an outcry on campus, Kristen Clark suggested that she didn't necessarily believe what she had written. The Harvard Crimson, a left-wing paper, did not buy that explanation. Well, does she or doesn't she? The editors wrote. So far, she hasn't given us every indication that she does. Let me tell you the punchline of the story, because I've read this before. She confused melanin with melatonin.
Oh, well.
So she understood that black people have more melanin, which is why they're darker.
Okay, yeah.
All of the points that she had made previously were actually in regards to melatonin.
Yeah. Well, hey.
And your melatonin presence. Right. But this is the person that they had selected to lead the civil rights.
Well, man, I'm sure back in her defense, back in 1994, I was making crazy decisions myself.
Well,
how old were you back in 94?
3, bro.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Bill Clinton was balling.
Hey, man. Hey.
Let me go.
Gotta give it to him.
Let me go let the dog out here. She's gonna keep crying.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So the main thing is, with the situation, with the racism and stuff that's going on, man. I said earlier, on the other recording we did the other day, man, love your neighbor. That's the main thing, man. Just love your neighbor. That's what the Lord says to do. And I actually said, in order for you to love your neighbor, you actually have to get to know your neighbor. So I mean, actually, it's a simple rule that I have, but it's like I have like a 3-foot rule, or like a 3-second rule. If I'm within 3 foot of someone, I usually say hello, or if I catch someone's eye for 3 seconds or something like that, I'll just say hello, man. So I just try to treat all people with dignity and respect, no matter what, And another thing I want to bring up, man. Of course, I understand, if you're in college and you're writing a paper, you probably want to pay a little bit more attention to the details that you're putting in there. But another thing that we got to stop doing is stop bringing up stuff that people have done 30 years ago, unless it's like murder or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand that a lot of people do that, but I mean,
no, hopefully not a lot.
Well, I know I'm just talking about not like murder, but I'm just talking about bringing up stuff from 30 years ago, man. You got to quit doing that, because people change over time. They grow. They actually, as you mature, hopefully you're starting to make better decisions. So I mean, I hate that she made that mistake in that paper. I don't know what kind of grade she got on it, but
she probably got an A, bro. Because if she didn't, it'd be racist.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So Eric said he knows white people who would say the exact same thing that Clark was saying. I'm saying it about how white people were superior to blacks.
Yeah.
And he said, but we'd obviously recognize that as racist thought process. How is that? How is it not the other way around? So one really awesome tool that I got from Stu Does America. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. It's on the Blaze.
I don't think so.
With Glenn Beck.
I know who he is, but I don't know if I watched it.
The tool he uses is, if you replace black with white and then it sounds racist, then it's racist. Right? So it's like the example he uses, if someone said you have to have at least 50% of your company white.
Okay.
That sounds racist,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't sound racist if it's black or Asian or woman. I mean, that's sexist.
Right.
You know, I think is it the Netherlands that said that any public corporation has to have at least 50% of the board be female.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with government actually going into a private business, but I mean, I understand we need regulation, so I mean, I understand that, but I just don't agree with, a government going into a business actually dictating, who can hire or not. Because in essence, I
It should
mean,
be based on your ability.
well, yeah, I understand that,
That's
and
capitalism.
right, right, and it's just definitely believe in equal opportunity for all people, but it's a merit-based system, I mean, I always use the analogy of,
It used to. It's not really. I mean, we have affirmative action.
oh well, I mean, but the thing about it is, even still, if I was an astronaut and I was in a rocket, I don't want somebody that got a D in mechanical engineering building that rocket. That I'm going into space in just because he was a certain type of person.
See, that's the thing that I think it was someone on the equity board. I don't know if they said it specifically or we were talking about it while they were saying it. The equity board that a lot of people are aware of for Washington County or Johnson City in particular, but how do you can't guarantee equal outcomes based on equity, right? So you can't guarantee equal intelligence based on giving someone money. So it's like, oh, okay, we'll make sure that everyone in this neighborhood only gets $50,000 a year or whatever to equal out the playing field. That still does not guarantee equal physical ability. We're equal before God, right? But that doesn't translate into equal human capacity, right? So again, like what you're talking
Well,
about, well, you don't want someone who's a D student making your rocket that you're shooting into space with.
well, if there's an A student that actually applied for the position,
They should probably get the job.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
And that could be the A student could be doesn't have to work very hard,
Yeah.
and the D
Well,
student could have to
and well, I mean,
bust his ass to do that.
well, but the thing,
But it's just not. It doesn't like still. You shouldn't have to choose the D student just because equity. So people who are confused about equity, just to give you an example, equity, whenever you're looking at the stock market, an equity stock is something that is of it just means value. Like if you have a stock that's an equity stock, it has you have a share of the value. So like for CBS, the equity stock, you get a dividend because you're a shareholder. They pay dividends to the shares. Every share that you have gets a certain dollar amount back. Um, and that is not equality, right? Equity and equality are interchanged today, and it's not the same thing, right?
well,
That's the equity board, right? So basically, what they mean by equity is taking from someone else and spreading it around. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That's my understanding of
yeah,
equity.
you're talking about redistribution.
It's redistribution, and
Yeah.
so that we all have the same share. It's not you can't do that in a nature is naturally hierarchical based on concentration gradients, based on effort produced in success in a certain area.
Right.
So no matter what, even if you redistributed everything today, I don't know if you've probably heard something similar to this. The people who are billionaires today would end up being billionaires again.
Well, I mean,
No, I mean, unless they came up with something randomly, but those same people have a different kind of drive
yeah.
and a different kind of intelligence
Mhm.
and a different kind of um,
Right. Well, their work ethic, stuff like that. They have, the necessary attributes to become successful. And, that is, discipline, determination, natural ability, which, good for them.
And
And
that's just I mean, that's the lottery, man.
yeah, well, and good for them. Like I said, I always like to see people do better. And the thing about it is that I've never been envious of those that have done better than me. To me, the smart thing to do is to actually get to know that person, to see what they're doing, to see if, they would actually help me do better.
Right.
And that actually comes back to humility. And the thing about it is, I never really understood being envious. Just like I said, I just explained that. But to actually, like I said, be humble and try to learn, from others that are around you. And everybody's different. Everybody else, like I said, is good at something. You may not know what that is just yet, but keep trying, you'll find out.
I think Eric's probably good at everything.
Well, hey,
He's definitely good at finding our chat rooms whenever we haven't told him that we're going live. That's for sure.
yeah, no,
I wonder if he has all of the herd gathered around a campfire and laptop watching
that
while we're
that would
doing.
be good times, though,
Yeah.
man.
Listen
That would be
here
good
to what
times.
brother Matt and brother Daniel have to say.
About what?
Just life in general. These are
Life,
lessons that
man.
you
I
might
tell
not.
you, life's a trip. It really is. And I was, how can I put this? I really didn't know what I wanted to do in life, um, until I was, as like a job, until I was like maybe 25. And then I had, some people die in my family, and it was hard for me to process that. And I spent about 4 years chasing my tail, not really knowing what I'm going to do. And all that actually boils down to this: there's two types of Vicks in life. You have
Vicks,
Vicks, Vicks, and this is just me
like
talking.
the pins,
No,
or
no,
in
no,
the
no,
lighter.
no.
Sorry.
Just let me finish. Let me finish. So there's victims and
Oh,
there's
Vic.
victors. Okay. And sometimes those are interchangeable, man. But at that time in my life, when I was from 25 to 29, I was in a victimized state. But that was my fault. I didn't process what was going on. I didn't want to process it. I didn't want to really overcome it. I didn't know how to, and it actually took me, like I'm saying, 4 years. I actually had to go see a therapist and stuff. I'm humble enough to admit that to everyone. And it actually helped me to become a victor, man. That's what I'm saying. There's two different types of Vicks in life, man. You just got to choose which one you want to be and head down that path. So,
And unfortunately, today's society glorifies the victim.
well, in some aspects, yes, it does. And
I mean, I would say in all aspects. I can't think of a situation where victimhood is not encouraged, except
well,
for
I mean,
maybe in the Navy SEALs. You know,
no, but is it? Yeah, I mean, I see it. I see it too. But at the same time, perception is reality. So if you've got people that are constantly bombarding you, telling you that you're victimized,
yeah.
eventually you may start believing them.
That's the same thing I've told people. In previous years, not having to do with the Me Too or anything like that. Is whenever you constantly remind someone of something that negative that happened to them,
Right.
and you tell them, "Hey, it's not your fault." It's like, well, yeah, I know that it wasn't my fault.
Hmm.
And then someone says, "It's not your fault."
Right.
You can't blame yourself. Like, well, I didn't blame myself to begin with.
Right. You just have to go through the grieving process. And I think a lot of times, maybe people don't know how to grieve. I mean, I didn't.
I mean, well, the thing is also too, men are, I hate to say this, men are supposed to be emotionally stronger. That's if you look at all through history, right? We don't
Right.
have to stereotype people and we don't
Right.
have to put
Right.
people in boxes.
Right.
But all through history, the people who are going to war and killing and maiming each other for their country or for their king or whatever are men. Okay. And women do suffer the brunt of a lot of that whenever, you have a city that's raped and pillaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
But what I'm saying is you don't ever hear stories of guys coming home with PTSD, right? And just being, you know, console me kind of thing. But that's what society today has brought on to people.
I don't think not I just have to respectfully disagree with you that on that, brother. And the reason that I am, man, is I couldn't even imagine going to war, man. Like I watched, Saving Private Ryan, last night. I was talking to you about that, and man, I couldn't imagine, just living through that,
No, I
man.
couldn't either. But they
Right.
lived in a different time. They had different values. They
Hmm.
they realized that they were going to save the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And they didn't they had romanticized it, yes, of course, but how many World War II vets have you taken care of that just are just caught up in what happened? They don't. They're like, yeah, I just did my duty.
well, they might express it in different ways.
I mean, that's true, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is today we have been uh, emasculated, right? You're not supposed to be tough anymore. You're not supposed to be the foundation, the rock. And if you look in the Bible, Jesus is the rock of the church, foundation of the church, right? Um, he is a strong um, patriarch. He's the foundation of the church,
Okay.
right? It's not
Hmm.
just you. You can be you can be as wishy-washy and soft as you want to. It's I mean, to me, I don't remember exactly how we got on this topic, but what I'm saying is that I think that is encouraged to
Yeah.
not be
Well.
a strong male today because it's seen as being misogynist or
Oh, so you're talking about just demasculizing people, not necessarily PTSD. Okay,
yeah,
maybe.
not necessarily
Oh, okay,
PTSD.
okay, okay, okay. Maybe I was.
Yeah, and so Eric says part of this is training too. Military trains you to not deal with those emotions. That's why civilian reintegration is so hard.
Mhm. Okay, well, maybe that's something we need to work on.
Well,
Maybe.
it's hard to do whenever every movie that you see is showing guys benefiting from being weak. That's a huge theme that you see in these very
Well,
liberal
I mean,
movies and TV
maybe
shows.
if that's the case, why a lot of younger people seem so angry now, because when they get
They
out,
don't understand what they're doing.
when they get out, maybe in the real world, it's not like that. You know.
No, it's not. It's like, you watch these movies now. If you're the very awkward, shy guy, you just moved to a new school.
Right.
The hottest chick in school is gonna just naturally gravitate to you, and the guy just can continue to be awkward. And it's like, oh, this is super cute and romantically funny, and he ends up with the chick. It doesn't work like that in real life. But the problem is that they see this and they say, "Oh, this movie's so popular. This must be the way it is." Same thing with like people like Cardi B wearing a G string on a music video. Number one Instagram person. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
little girls are seeing this and they're like, regardless of whether what they're thinking or if they thought about it
Right.
logically, they're seeing this person who's doing these very absurd things and very taboo things and things that you should not want to do. No one would want their daughter to do these things. They want their daughter to have money, but that's about it. And these kids are seeing that they're like, this is the way you do things because
Mhm.
if it wasn't, then she wouldn't be rich and famous.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
that's what it is, man. It's perception is reality. You just got to make sure.
that's a
See,
culture issue, though.
well, I understand that, but I actually pray for knowledge, wisdom, and discernment. I mean, I do. I really do that. Not for power, not for money. I just want to make sure that what I'm seeing, I can understand. You know.
Well, Eric says society today glorified meek men. There is a meekness that is still considered masculine. And that is the example through Christ, which
Well,
is meekness in the sense of controlled power,
yes,
not just a weak
yeah,
man.
yeah, controlled. That's what meekness is. It's controlled power, and that's honestly, that's the way it is. It doesn't mean that you're powerless. Listen, there was this general one time, and he said this quote, and he said the smallest but the most important part of valor is discretion. Knowing who now that was the quote itself, but you know what that means. You got to know who, when, how, and where to attack. And if even if you need to attack, you know what I'm saying. So, I mean, that's
That's
meekness.
confidence.
Well, yeah, that's also meekness. That's
Yeah.
controlled power. That's
Yeah.
what that is.
You don't have to prove it to anyone,
Right.
but also you have the ability. That's the thing
Yeah.
is
Well,
knowing that you're confident means that you know that you don't have to prove it to anybody.
right. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing in society that I think we're losing. And here's another quote that I always use: just because you have the ability to do something doesn't make it right.
Right.
you know but you have a lot of people in our politics now that believe might is right. I'm just going to, you don't get to talk, I'm going to squash your voice. We got to keep you from getting your ideas out. And that's not the way to go. I mean, because and you've heard me say this a million times: when people stop or not able to use their voices, they'll start using their fist. And that's what I'm saying. If people are amenable to have conversations that you don't agree with, be willing to have those conversations. But at the same time, you have to go into it trying to look at it from the other person's perspective.
But that's the problem is a lot of people are not willing to
Well,
even consider the alternative. But
what
it's because they don't because they have such emotional attachment to their ideals
right,
that
right.
it's impossible for them. That's a radical.
Yeah, well, you know, uh,
And logic, that's the problem is we've
yeah.
stopped reasoning.
You've gotten away from objectivity.
Yeah.
And that's the bad part. About a lot of things that's going on today. There's an acronym. This is the best acronym I've ever seen in my life, and it was around Christmas time, and it was on a church sign, and it said joy, and it says Jesus first, others before yourself, and yourself last. And I think that if like I'm saying, we're in controversial times. You got to stand your ground, but at the same time, you have to interact with people who don't agree with you. And at the end of the day, I heard a smart man say not too long ago, you can disagree, but you don't have to be disagreeable. You don't have to be unpleasant to. That I was talking about earlier.
I think we just lost sound there for a second, but
Okay.
Eric, can you still hear us, bro? Just let us know. Well,
Still good.
he said no, it's back now.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. What I was just saying is you can disagree, but you don't have to be disagreeable.
yeah.
You don't have to be unpleasant to each other, man. And you can get your point across without having to get up in someone's face.
Well, I mean, even so, even if you are very passionate about something, you still have to, if you want to have a logical argument, you have to be willing to have evidence to support your argument. And then also, I mean, if you're presenting evidence, the opposing party is going to present evidence, and they have to present evidence to change your opinion to
Right.
persuade you.
Right.
And that's the problem is there's no balance of that in today's political realm. So people will have
Hmm.
to resort to just yelling at each other. It's like, why don't you listen to the facts? And the other side is why don't you listen to how I feel?
Right.
And with no, I mean, I hate to say that, but like I said, I used to be liberal,
Right.
and it was the easiest thing to argue in the world because I could just attack the person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about you. I could
Yeah.
say
Well,
you benefited from all these
it's
things.
well, it's funny that you say that, but anybody that knows anything about debate knows that once your argument is terrible, you just attack the person.
Well, yeah, but if
Right.
you start at the very beginning, then
With
no one sees
attacking
the
the person.
difference.
Yeah. Well, that actually goes back to something that the Marxists do. It's called mid-level violence. And what they want you to do is either back down or overreact. So and that's
That
what
makes you look irrational.
right, right,
It's
and
like you're
and
either
they actually,
conceited.
they actually use like gaslighting.
Yeah,
You're trying to make you feel like you're stupid. And what's so awkward is that there was a study that was done one time, and I love reading these types of studies. And what they did is they took, I want to say it was like 20 people, and what they did is they took 19 people and took them into this room, and they had just lines on the wall. And of course, everybody could see, which line was literally the longest. There was a big difference. So what they did is they actually told those 19 people, we're going to add this person in here, and then we're just going to go down the line. I'm going to ask like maybe 3 or 4 people, which line is the longest. And a person that come in at the very end knew that the the tallest line was the longest. But they said that when they actually started asking him, they were looking at the guy who came in at the very last, and he was kind of, he's like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, I'm not understanding this, because he's being objective and he's actually looking to see, which line is the longest. But the funny part about it is, afterwards, I mean, after a while, they actually changed his mind. They actually made
made him
right,
perceive something that's not true.
right, right,
Yeah,
and
there's other experiments like
sure,
that. Yeah,
sure.
that I can't exactly
Right. And
put my finger
yeah,
on.
and
I remember hearing stuff like that.
yeah, it's perception, it's perception studies.
Well, Eric said people also try to use anecdotal evidence as stronger
Sure.
evidence,
Sure.
which can be altered by perception, and that's evident in the narrative that the media presents. It's like
Hmm.
they have this image of something,
Hmm.
and as long as they tell a story to go along with it,
Right.
then they'll change the
Well,
perception.
it's funny, like, it's funny when you watch these clips on YouTube regarding like a story that's happening, and it's like a national story. And you'll see these clips from these news channels all across the nation. They all use the same verbiage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Peaceful,
Well,
mostly peaceful protest.
but but yeah, that's just one example, and it's almost to the
Sir,
point.
it's mostly peaceful here in Kenosha.
Yeah,
The firebomb is some kind of freedom
it's
bonfire.
it's funny. It's funny.
I think someone lent them their building to set on fire to create this big engulfing flame.
Yeah, that was actually one of the funniest ones I saw. They had this gentleman on there, and he was
I
saying
don't know that I'm safe, but it's mostly
it's mostly
peaceful.
peaceful. Yeah, it's hilarious.
This is crazy. I can't believe I'm even here right now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
mostly peaceful. And what was even crazier is the politicians and the anchors
Hmm.
on mainstream media encouraging it. Who says that protests have to be peaceful?
Well, that'd be you have the right to peaceably assemble.
Who says?
That'd be the Constitution, my
Well,
friend.
most, not all the amendments are
Absolute, right?
absolute.
Okay. All right. So now we see what's going on.
Mockingbirds are badass birds, Eric, because that's the Tennessee state bird, cacaw.
Yeah,
We
no.
take advantage of the birds and kill them, take their nest.
Yeah, so man, it's a trip, man. Society today, it's a trip. I wish we could come together. I wish we could be unified, man. But
It has to be based in reality. That's the problem.
well,
There's
right,
no subjective truth. There's no. Let me say it one more time. There's no subjective truth to
well,
reality. There's
okay.
no subjective truth.
Well,
It's objective, and it is the truth that God has created this universe.
okay.
Okay, And
I understand where you're coming from. That truth is not relative. I think it's
it's
what you're
not. I
trying to
mean, you
get
can,
at.
yeah, everyone can have
Yeah.
a different truth about something in particular. Like they believe something. That's what they believe. But we all live in the same reality. There's no multiple realities. Okay?
Well, I mean, I understand. I understand that from the fact that if I went out and stuck my hand in the fire, it'd probably burn. And if
Exactly.
you stuck your
That's a
hand in the
perfect
fire,
example.
if you stuck your hand in the fire, it may burn you also. Yeah,
Most likely.
yeah. I'll just say it. So
But the problem is, we've gotten to a point where in postmodernism in the 1950s, where everyone can have their own reality. And up till that point, there was no multiple realities. Okay, so one reality. Um, and if so, yeah, I mean, for every action, there's equal and opposite reaction,
okay,
and that exists till today.
right.
But the problem is we're trying to unbalance it and say, no, this action doesn't have an equal and opposite reaction. It has whatever reaction that you want it to.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's a sad state of affairs.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're gonna fix it. This country is the most amazing country.
Oh, by
I am
far.
so thankful for everything that it's done for me. I mean, I've
Hmm.
really just blown away so many opportunities that it's given me. I mean, you have opportunities left and right in
Yeah, I
this
know.
country. Every single day you have opportunities, and it's whether or not you want to take the energy to pursue them.
Yeah,
Every single day.
yeah, and
It's what do you want to do?
that's what I'm saying. And do that. As long as you're not trampling on your neighbor, that's what it says. You have the right to pursue happiness. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, man, go for it. I'll help you out. Let me know what I can do. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we're gonna keep working on this, and
Sure.
this is very pieced together. We don't have all the systems
Right.
that we're supposed to. So I mean, every time that we do this, it's gonna get better and better. And like Eric said, America, hell yeah. And we're gonna do podcasts every week.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out. We'll work with
Yeah.
schedules.
It'll be more organized and stuff like that. We're actually going to do some research, and we'll do some educational in an educational capacity. I'm hoping to have actually maybe even some local scholars on to
Mhm.
actually help educate us
We'll definitely have
regarding
Eric
things.
on here too, because I
Yeah,
mean, we've
man.
got 3 mics right now. I'll go
Sure.
ahead and order another one because we got 4 mic plugs, got 4 headsets.
Yeah.
We'll be sitting around. Was it your buddy? What he was saying the round table. I mean, that
Yeah.
might be good for like a open just conversation.
Sure.
But I mean, heck, even just having another
Yeah.
seats
No.
right here. We can have split screen kind of thing going on.
No. I mean, like I'm saying, I think things will get better with over time. Our producer's actually not actually here today, so I think things will get better. We'll get the place looking better, and hopefully the conversations will get better. Will flow better. And like I say, man, I just appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you to all the veterans. Thank you for all the first responders. You guys are the people who make the world go around.
And the people working in Kroger,
Yeah, well,
those
yeah,
people
man.
have been working
Yeah, yeah,
frontline from day one,
yeah,
and
yeah,
people do not give them enough credit. They come in contact with more
yeah.
people.
That's true.
Us being
That's
frontline
true.
people,
Yeah,
those people come in more contact with
yeah,
people than we ever even dreamed of.
yeah, and yeah, that's true, man. So
Everything that these people touch, they're just do.
I think if more people said thank you and I appreciate you, I think people get along a whole lot better.
Well, they might if they weren't all wearing a mask and felt like we're not even communicating with each other, because I mean it's so dehumanizing to be talking from a mask with no facial expression to another person with no facial expression that
Yeah,
could be anybody.
yeah,
I mean, I don't wear a mask whenever I go in places.
right.
Like, what we saw each other at the Fresh Market the other
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you. I would never have known who you were until you
Right.
came up to me because I wasn't wearing a mask.
Well, I just do it for other people.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just,
they can go somewhere else. You know, if they're
now,
so worried.
no, I understand your thought process. Well, everybody, we appreciate you for hanging out with us. Hoping in that, like I say, we'll see you next time. like, subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your
Yeah.
dog. I don't know. Make them an email account.
And
Have them subscribe.
and next weekend I'm gonna be posted up at probably Friday. Next Friday I'll be posted up with a homemade sign over at the Walgreens on what is that? Was that State of Franklin and Roan? Market Street.
Yeah.
We'll have a nice lawn chairs posted up there. We'll have a peaceful protest of one person. If anyone wants to come join me, that's awesome. And like Eric said, thank the Lord for sending His Son Jesus Christ to die on the cross for our sins, even when we clearly don't deserve it.
Yeah, for real.
You know, and God bless all the patriots in this country, and pray for the left.
Yeah, man.
Good Lord, pray for the left.
Yeah,
because those people are the ones who need to be shown the light.
Well, just pray for everyone, man.
We pray for everybody.
Pray for everyone.
But
pray for the country, just itself, man.
Absolutely. This is the one light in the world. If the United States goes, so goes the world.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, you got to remember when the first world suffers, the third world dies. So
yeah, there will be no third world.
So
it'll be
everybody love your neighbor.
Yep.
Take care of yourself. And we'll see you next time.
All right, love you guys. Check us out. Well, check me out at least until we get a website up for the McMak show. At mattforcongress.vote. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.